What's up? I'm here at the Sydney Opera House again after 2 years. I studied here 2 years ago at UNSW. It's really weird to be back in Sydney, Australia. It's awesome, but weird. I'm here after my Asia tour, spending 6 months in Asia all throughout. Feeling the contrast of the East and the West pretty hard. Culture shock, not super hard. I mean, I'm having a tough time remembering, like, oh yeah, they shake hands and they like hug in this country. But other than that, it's a very interesting contrast between the East and the West. And I wanted to talk today, in terms of contrast, about needs. So, needs are, from what I've found, needs are relative. You have your basic biological needs. You got your food, warmth, depending on your country, food, clothing, water, and ideally love of your surrounding family, ideally some friends, and ideally a significant other. Granted, you don't need all of those things at the end. You're just a better person with them. You can survive without them, but it doesn't make you you're not going to have that fun of a life, I don't think, but maybe you can. I don't know, prove me wrong. That'd be interesting. But yeah, just the reason I bring this up is because Sydney has so much relative to what I mean, I just came from India, so I just saw people with virtually nothing. When I talk about having the needs met of like warmth is like the climate, the food luckily is very cheap, so if they beg for like an hour or two, they could probably get lunch, which is, you know, makes living there possible for a lot of them. Yeah, the warmth is a climate, the food taken care of, their shelter, sheet metal or nothing sometimes. I've seen families sleep in a corner inside of the road, just like, and it's fine, it's like fine to them. And that's why I wanted to bring this up, because now when Westerners suffer, we tend to suffer, and it's actually, being in Sydney is a great example of this, because of, I believe there's a high suicide rate. I was told of that when I was here last. Don't know how true that is still, but in the West we tend to suffer in a different way than in the East. In the East, suffering is definitely manifested physical more than I would say that the suffering is in the West. Like here, suffering here would be like some kind of existential angst. So, you know, you get all the things you need, and then you're like, well, what else? That's that. It causes you to kill themselves. It causes them to kill themselves, which is very interesting. This girl doesn't love me. This guy doesn't love me. My marriage is falling apart. My kids don't. You know, things like that. These are kind of abstract, whereas like the suffering in the East would be, I'm hungry today, I don't have food today, I don't have water today that I can drink, something like that. It's just a different kind of suffering from, I think, a different source of what we think we need. The reason I bring this up is because we think in the West that we need so much more than we actually do, and living in Asia has taught me that. It was hard adjusting from the food quantities when I even came to Australia, coming from the States, eating huge portions versus eating less portions. And then obviously that was exacerbated in Asia, because you're getting even less kind of food, for the most part, per serving, per meal that you're buying. Granted, you can just buy 2 of them, which is nice, but still, tough to get used to. Again, the Westerners, we tend to think that we need so much more than we actually do, and we fall into this kind of state of comfort, which, for a lot of Americans anyway, can you know, lead to some, I say, dire circumstance, obesity, you know, like severe laziness, you know, relying on unemployment purely, you know, without looking for a job at all whatsoever. I mean, these kinds of things kind of make you like a deadbeat. So yeah, just basically, needs are kind of relative. We think in the West that we need so much more than we actually do. The East has proven this to me, and I've proven this to myself. There have been times on this trip where I've thought I've had so much money, and there have been other times on this trip where I'm in, like, say, Hong Kong, I have like no money. So in Thailand, I'm like, oh, I'm fine, great, I can just get more money, fine, wonderful. Because I had a fixed amount coming out here on this journey. And then in Hong Kong, I budgeted this much, and then in India, I budgeted a little bit more, but it was less, but also I didn't have a credit card, so taking risks and living life, living the dream, living like a very, very, I wouldn't say poor person, because it's like you're poor on the one hand because you're not eating, but you're flying across the ocean, so it's a weird thing now. Yeah, but anyway, so with that said, needs relative, different for people, different for different regions in the world, and it's just an interesting contrast to observe and to experience for yourself. Again, coming back to Sydney, it's just weird. I'm not the only white person. People aren't looking at me all the time. I don't know how I feel about this, people not looking at me all the time. I'm standing here with a camera right now looking at it in front of the thing, but everyone else is doing it. I've seen 3 GoPros today, so people know what a GoPro is over here. That was weird. No one knew. Many people in Thailand didn't know what a GoPro was, and many people in India, most people in India had no idea what a GoPro was. I think 2 guys were like, "Is that a GoPro?" And they were the other free runners that I hung out with. So, at any rate, yep. With that said, I'm going to head back, try to get some training in, try to head over to the Apes Hardcore Gym and play around a bit. So, with that said, peace out from the Sydney Opera House, and I'll see you guys next time.